Welcome to the Vault podcast, everybody. My name is Dave. Over there is Dan Liacha, and with a very special guest today, Andy Kirk, everybody.
Wow.
It's important to start off, man, I've got a little speech down. Remember the speech?
I'm waiting for the speech.
We know that not every leader in kids ministry is in a big staff team. In fact, more than half of the churches around the world have solo pastors. But no one should be alone in ministry, so we humbly ask you to consider us as part of your team. Welcome to the Vault, where you keep your most valuable things, and what is more valuable than wisdom? The wisdom in being imparted today is Andy Kirk. We need to give him an introduction, Dan. Tell us about
Andy has been in kids ministry for, I'd say, 2 decades?
Yes,
Yes.
it is now. Wow.
2 decades. He's currently the national leader of the ACCkids movement, and he's also the global leader for kids, youth and families for Glow Church.
And today, we're inviting him to have a job interview with us.
Yes, because you're a part of a lot of teams, but
Yeah.
are you a part of our team
Yes.
and the team of our people watching? You want this.
You want
Yes.
this.
Yes.
You
So-
really do.
but
So,
why I'm
by the
here.
way, Jim Weidman, who, if you look back in a couple of episodes ago, you'll notice that we interviewed Jim Weidman for the
Okay.
same role.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Even he didn't get a part. So
Yeah,
this
we
is-
have-
the job.
We haven't
Right.
we haven't let him know yet. But
Okay.
we haven't got back to him.
He just found out then.
yes, sorry if you're watching, Jim, which we know you are. Condolences.
Every leader has different strengths, weaknesses, and philosophies of ministry that guide their decision making. What you are about to witness is a real fake job interview with a potential new team member. Will they crumble under the pressure, or will they rise to the challenge? Today's applicant is Andy Kirk.
Whoa! We start all of our interviews with a quick ministry skill check.
Yes, we need you to rate from 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing.
Yes.
Your areas, these are skill areas in kids ministry.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to start with number 1, 1 to
Yes.
10, excellent, terrible, puppetry.
Terrible.
So a 1,
Yes. Is it lower than one?
Ooh, our last guest told us that he started puppet ministry in
the church.
In the church.
Well,
So
I think I finished it in the Australian church, so that's my claim, Jim.
number 2, how do you rate yourselves with ventriloquism?
Again, let's go with 1.
Okay.
One, yeah, no,
It's related to puppetry.
honesty's high, which is
Yeah.
good. All right, we'll go straight into balloon animals.
No, I'm not bad at balloon animals. I'm going to go with a good solid 5 on that one.
Excellent.
What's the best thing you can make with a balloon animal?
Well, again, I rated 5 because it's just variations of the same animal. So it's dog and then giraffe. You just stretch the
Long-necked
neck.
dog.
Yeah, long-necked dog.
Sausage dog.
Exactly. The middle section's bigger. But that's variations. So
Right.
that's, 4 or 5. Yeah.
Great.
All right, number 4 here. This is overhead transparency protection, or if you're technologically, also PowerPoint design. How are you doing on that skill?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a overhead. I'm going to go a solid 7. I grew up in a church where I was good on the overhead projector.
Right.
And then I dabble with PowerPoint. Dabble.
Okay.
I even went Prezi for a little while there.
Ooh,
Oh,
fancy.
I remember
Yeah.
Prezi.
Yes.
Remember that?
Can you show me your skills of when it gets to the end of the verse with one PowerPoint, how smoothly you switch? No, for the overhead, how smoothly you switch.
Well, I grew up in the real Pentecostal church as well, so not only was I managing that, but I'm keeping an eye on like modesty cloths to get them out at the same. They're in the box
right.
next to the overhead.
Wow.
So, yeah, no, it was-
Multitasking.
It's a dun, dun.
Look,
All right.
I think we're upgrading that to an 8.
Let's
That's
go an
very
8
good,
on
yeah.
that one.
Good.
The next question is, now this is photocopying, or if you're old enough, lithograph duplicators.
Yeah, right. No, we'll go with photocopy.
Okay.
Photocopy. Yeah, I used to. One of my first jobs in church was running off the weekly bulletin.
Come
on the
on.
photocopy machine.
Wow.
This is great. Out of
And
10 for
bulletin.
photocopying, then I'm going to give you a solid, what do you think? An
Oh,
8?
9.
A 9.
I'm all over that.
All right.
Ooh,
Now-
copy that.
Audio cassette duplication.
Yeah, I have done that also. I really have.
9?
Yeah, no, I'm good at that's good.
Felt board operation.
No,
No.
I never.
So
No, I missed all the foundational kids ministry. You know, your puppets, ventriloquism, and
It sounds like
felt
it, yeah.
board. Yeah.
This is not going well for the interview, is it, Dan?
Well, no.
Well, it's depending, you know.
Okay,
man,
well, let's see what
'cause
happens.
I'm hoping
look
his
around.
new, his
pretty
what's it called?
modern.
Yeah, his modern skills are gonna start.
Okay, great. Number 8, general craft skill, including paper mache and scissor operation.
Yeah. Again, this is where I'm going to let you guys down in the whole kids ministry world. I hate art and craft.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even
Really?
now, if my kids bring it out of the kids ministry that I oversee,
Right.
it won't make it to the car if there's glitter on it. Like,
I see. All right,
It's
so
kind of borderlining on you might need to see someone about that.
yeah, it's OCD.
all right, this is an important. Now, that's look. I think we're gauging your level of skill here, but
Yes.
this is an important one.
All right, I'm ready.
Number 9, Microsoft Excel spreadsheets.
Oh no, I'm gonna bank on a 10 there.
Wow.
We would
Yep.
we would put everyone into a search. So we would put all of the names from the hand sign in checkout.
Yeah,
Remember
right.
we used to sign in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to put it all in and then extract what now these fancy databases do.
Right.
You know, we made our own on Excel years ago.
That's amazing.
This is helping.
That's
And
good.
He
Your final-
excels at Excel.
He does.
Yeah.
Your final area for skills is
Yes.
offering, collection, and counting.
Do we still do that?
Yeah, well, I'm just
It's
saying, maybe
Your
in
kid-
this
your-
era of digital, all your kids are giving
Your
on.
kids get on
Yeah.
Venmo? Is that how they do?
Yeah, they're all dropping their Bitcoin. That's
all right.
Right, yeah.
Okay, great.
Got to do something
So
with
it's an obsolete skill. Okay, I understand.
yeah.
Now this is a bonus question. This
I
is,
can give a good message offering.
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay. Offering.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Great. Here, there's a couple just quick questions, just
All right.
right off the cuff, just yes or no's. Have you ever used the font Comic Sans?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And what year did you last use any form of clip art on a flyer?
Oh, okay, no, that.
It's been
I
a long-
probably it's been a long time.
Okay,
I
good,
probably
good.
wouldn't have made anything for a while, but Comic Sans is still in favourites on Word.
Oh, that's not good.
Wow, okay, that's going to
Yeah.
count against
Well, thank you for make a note there,
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah, I have.
What we're going to talk about now is, in order for you to join our team, we just need to find out a little bit of background. These are just some very, very normal, everyday questions you would get asked at a job interview.
Right.
Tell us about a time where you felt completely out of your depth in ministry.
Most Sundays.
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
This
It's
is-
kids ministry.
Remember, this is an interview.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No,
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 out of my depth.
honestly.
I'm honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
No,
I like that.
Honest. Out of my depth. Look, I do remember in kids ministry over the it's when you're up there and you just realise this message is going nowhere.
Right.
I don't have an object lesson
Right.
this week,
Pivot.
but we still have 45 minutes left. It's those moments, Dave.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that feeling.
You know it?
Well, it's sometimes, you're talking, you're saying words.
Yeah.
And you're realizing, where is this going? What have I done?
Yep.
How do I, I know exactly that
You
feeling.
see the kid's eyes glaze over.
Yeah.
Your own eyes are glazing over.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
you're like, oh no,
I hear you. I
Start
hear you.
booing yourself. It's not good.
get off.
Get to the point, old man.
All right. What idea, another interview question for you, Andy.
Yeah.
What idea that you championed turned into an abject failure?
We're
It's a
going
great
for the-
question.
Going for the jugular.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be an abject failure. It could have just sucked a little bit.
I remember years ago we made a devotion CD,
Okay.
and it would be monthly, and we'd do
Right.
20 tracks. And the idea would be that parents would listen at bedtime,
Right.
Because there were CD players in the
Yeah,
rooms.
yeah, yeah.
back
They were.
then. Yeah. And you listen track, So I would go in and record my little heart out and
Right.
write these scripts. I remember just one day going, I'm all pumped about these devotions, and I'm like, who's loving these devotions? And none of the kids responded. But I thought they must have misunderstood the question.
Right.
So I clarified.
It couldn't
Yes.
be correct.
Who's actually using the devotions? Yeah, no one.
No one.
No one. So, yeah, months and months of, abject failure. But it was a good idea in my head at the time.
100%. I find, and to be honest, in ministry, anytime you have an idea that is outside of the direct Sunday morning, Sunday church service control,
Yeah.
is a shot in the dark. 'Cause
Yeah.
you just don't know.
Yeah.
If it relies on a parent getting involved, you just got to go for it sometimes and just see what happens.
Totally.
I have another question. Background in the
Okay.
background
A background
section.
check.
I'm going off book.
Are we
here.
going
It's
off
not
script?
really-
Okay.
I would like to know because 20 years is a long time.
Yeah.
What is the longest you've waited for a seed to grow? So you planted a seed at some point and you did not see any fruit from that, but eventually did somewhere along the line.
Okay, 20 years. No, I
Like an
think-
idea, you mean, Dan?
Like an idea,
Yeah.
or you learnt something, or you went through a challenge, and it's like I don't know what's going to come out of this, and then you finally saw that
I think
come
even
to fruit later.
I think for one of them is I'm always trying to come up with ideas and innovate. And one of them I mentioned before was the electronic sign-in systems.
Yeah.
I probably went 3 or 4 years running on Excel, pulling reports,
Right.
and where they're hand signing in kids still because we didn't have electronic sign-in systems in Australia.
Right.
I mean, you fancy guys did, but
We had a fingerprint scanner back
Did
in
ya?
the day. Yeah. So parents would just put their fingerprint on. That's
Did
how
it work?
early we were. It was,
No,
it was
no,
good.
It counted one line of,
No, it's
of their
terrible.
400.
I don't know what year that was and how
Right.
that lines up with your time frame, but
no, I would okay. 2008, we would 2006, 2007. We were still doing hand
right.
signing.
Oh, that's painful.
Wow.
That is
yeah.
painful.
Yeah. But I remember going to conferences, kids ministry, and they'd have all these check-in systems.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
gee, that'd be really helpful if we had that. So yeah, I've gone 4 or 5 years of painful trying to execution.
Right. And
amazing.
you know the worst thing with that, there's a better solution.
Totally.
And that's the problem.
Totally.
If you didn't know, you'd deal with it. But
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thank
that.
you.
It's great.
So I'd like to know, was there a time when the work-life weights got out of balance, and what did you do to correct that?
Yeah, I think that's a constant balance, like a constant correction. I think that would happen. I could well happen annually. Like I think,
Right.
I think you always have to take stock and audit of that one. And I think there's large seasons. I think probably the worst of it was we've come through the Royal Commission, and
Yep.
every church in Australia needed to roll out safer churches processes.
Uh-huh.
And so I travelled, I think I was on 80-something flights that year, and I was travelling the
Wow.
nation flying. And Christy's at home, a couple of young kids, and it was just out of whack. It was, you're trying to create a safe space for churches, and my family wasn't safe. That was probably the worst of it. But I
Wow.
think you've learned lessons over that, and in trying to balance. And I know many people, listening are bivocational, so that you're trying to balance the work, and then family. And I think that's hard. I had to write an article for someone in America once. They wrote a book on balance.
Right.
And so they said, can you write an article to promote it? I said, sure. They never published my article because I think my premise was different to what the whole book was. I hadn't read the book. So anyway, I wrote this article. But I used an analogy of snowboarding. See, this table's balanced, but it's stagnant. It's sitting still.
Yep.
Right.
I want to be moving, and we should be moving forward.
Yeah.
So I use snowboarding. The idea is to stay balanced,
Yeah.
stay up. But you've got to learn when to turn. You turn when you're fatigued. You turn when you're ready to make a jump. You turn at different times when there's danger ahead. And
Yep.
so I think the real aspect of balance is identifying when you need to turn.
Right.
And so I think that's
cool.
I'm constantly learning and reevaluating that one.
One thing I really love about hanging out with you is you seem to have time for people. And when I know on paper that you shouldn't.
Right.
You should be busy, but you seem to have time for people. You're present with people.
Mm-hmm.
You're there. It's like that they're the most important person in your life at that
Right.
moment, which they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, but
And
they are.
That's a real skill it's very hard to do, and it's something that I'd like to
I think
learn to get better at.
Well, I'm no more busy than you.
Mm.
People who would come up and go, I know you're busy, but can we have coffee? And I'm not busy. You're busy. Like, you're busy. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got
Yeah.
the same amount of time, and we're all filling it with aspects. And my busy is no more important than your busy. I just try and break it down to say, let's just try and find a time where our calendars sync.
Yep.
And that's what it is. So yeah,
That's great.
Good word. That's
Very
really
good.
helped the interview. I think that was good stuff there,
yeah.
Dad. Let's hit him with some scenarios.
did it make up for my lack of ventriloquism?
Lack of skills. So
Right.
yeah.
Good.
All right.
Some
This is
Okay.
This is actually very prescient. Your church is about to start another location
In
Now,
Korea?
for the first.
South, to be clear.
Let's just say this is for the first time.
Right.
Maybe it's not for the first. Maybe just in your current situation.
Yeah.
What do you focus on first from a kid's perspective?
The first thing is obviously a leader.
Yep.
Having someone who can, take responsibility for that. And again, I know I'm for an interview, and if I'm interviewing someone for a space like that, it's
Yep.
they don't. The good thing about multi-site, or even if you are a single site location and having a church to come on board and take up some coaching or mentoring from somebody else, there's people who have done it before, And so I don't have to find someone who's an expert in every area, but I want them to be able to just love people.
Yep.
You know, so they've got to build team. It's hard, you know, you're building team whilst running the program. So if I can come alongside of them and take away a lot of the obstacles,
Right.
then you can allow that person to be the best version of them.
very
So the
good.
first thing I'd get them to do is to look at all the areas that they'll oversee. So I often get them to draw out an org chart, organisation chart, and then ask them who is running that. Who's running that bit? Who's running... And you'll find that their name is in every box.
Right.
It's always going to
Right.
happen.
Yeah.
Because they are just... Okay, well, you can't fix all of that. Let's just focus on this. And I think for those that are listening, and again, that are, you know, maybe in their own church or, you know, feeling isolated in that aspect, this exercise helps because you can't fix it all at once. But what you can do is you can fix that one problem. And so I just try and teach them. So the first thing I look for is someone who's just willing, who's a people person, who's just willing to just focus on one thing, not trying to do everything. Probably the other area is you go into a place, a lot of leaders don't look at the facilities for kids.
Yes.
Right.
True.
You know, and I'm sure people listening, you know, you plan a new place, saying, this auditorium's great, got the greatest production, got the great car parking, and it's this. And it's like, but the toilets for the children are 300 metres away, you know, past a maximum security prison. You know, it's you've got to go this way. It's like, okay, that's probably not going to work for us, guys. So I think the facilities, but then trying to create that atmosphere. I think atmosphere is a word that comes up in every area. So just creating that atmosphere that engages families, makes them feel safe. You want to create safety in that space. So.
And as we talked about on a previous podcast with Jess, that atmosphere benefits the whole church.
What are some top non-negotiables in a kids service?
That's a good one, Dave.
Right.
So you've got 90 minutes
You
to
said it
fill,
well- and you said it
60
well.
minutes to fill. Just give us, you don't say everything, but what do you want to, like, because every church is different, but what do you want to see happen in that 90 minutes?
I want to see a service happen.
Yeah.
And what I mean by a service
Yes.
is I do say that in a way. It doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes or it can occupy, how long we have? 90. It
Maybe
doesn't matter
90,
if we
yeah.
occupy 90. Anywhere in there, we want to have a service. And I think separating and it's creating those atmospheres and the point of difference. So when they come in, they will come into a space which is a great atmosphere of inclusivity and they're hanging out and connecting with leaders. We call that our hang time space.
Yep.
But anytime between there and they're getting picked up, it's not just running games the whole time. We use the language, hey, we'll be starting our service soon.
Yep.
We're going to be starting our service soon. Now, you can use media countdown clocks, but if you don't have access to any of that, you can just be using the language of, we're going to start our service soon. We're going to start our service soon. And again, if that service goes for 10 minutes that incorporates praise and worship, brilliant. I'm thrilled.
Yep.
If there's teaching, great.
Yep.
There should be elements of that, but within a 10 minutes, you're carving a space to say, hey, we're taking a moment to honor God.
Okay.
I learned this in a funny way. I was a chaplain in a school years ago, and it was it's quite a formal school. I mean, the kids, you know, they're wearing the ties and they're walking into a 100-year-old building, which was the chapel. And so all the kids would walk in and they'd have to walk in absolute silence and sit down in reverence.
Wow.
And then they'd put Hillsong Kids on.
Right.
And then the whole thing would light up and the kids would jump around. I said to the
Right.
chaplain, why are you doing this? He goes, because I still want to teach them the art and the element of reverence for the service.
Okay.
And so I didn't do the same manner that the kids had to be silent and walk in and somber and the whole thing. But I learnt the art that you have to separate and say, because ultimately we're setting the children up to go into church, to a church service for life.
Correct.
To be part of a church service. The other part what we're trying to do is set them up for a lifelong connection through connect groups or whatever you might call them in your context, but connect groups. So I think those two elements, it's a service and it's connect groups.
Right.
So large group, small group are the two
Yes,
bits.
yes.
Are the two bits that I just think are so important. I've seen over the 20 years a shifting and a changing of how much content comes through large and how much comes through small. We're probably in a trend, if you call it that at the moment, that small group is the place where a lot more content is discussed, spoken
Right,
about.
right.
Even I know of some bigger churches, have them in their small groups while they're delivering the large group content.
Right.
And so, but I think those two elements are the two key aspects. What you do within that, there's so much flexibility. What order you do things.
Okay.
But that's what I do.
That is a good answer. We have our final question before
Okay.
we assess your ability to be a part of our
Right.
team, Andy.
Okay.
I know this is high stakes. But my final question of the day is, when you hear the word discipleship
Yes.
in relation to kids,
Yes.
what do you immediately think of?
That's a great question. Immediately, I think of the parents.
Okay.
Wow. Good answer.
So I think even over the last 2 years, globally, what we've learned is that discipleship happens in the home. And I think more so than ever. And I think we probably went through a large season of the 2010 to 2020 season where church really dug down into leadership development,
Right.
training our leaders, equipping them. And we were doing good services, and we still are. But I think that discipleship at home was low. I think, off memory, I think 10% of churches provide any sort of resources.
Right.
This is pre-COVID. 10% of churches provided any sort of resources to link Sunday to midweek. And then all of a sudden they're at home and the parents are like, oh, shivers, we need to be doing this. And the churches aren't providing that. So I think when you say, okay, how do we do discipleship? What do we look at? It's the parents. So our job as a church is to continue doing great weekend services, but then integrating and walking alongside that parent to be discipled. We've got more first generation Christian parents than ever before.
Right.
Wow.
And the biggest thing is not that they don't want to, they just don't know how to. And so I think we need to be resourcing parents, and there's lots of great resources you can use to be able to just walk alongside and empower the parents to disciple their children.
Love it.
So
That's absolutely
Oh, you've
beautiful.
made our job quite difficult.
Man, this is tricky.
This is tough.
Well, look, Andy, thank you for coming in today.
We'll be in touch between 6 to 12 weeks.
6 to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
You'll hear it. You'll hear from us. I mean,
Okay.
you may hear from us on the next podcast. We'll be-
Right.
Yeah.
So, so Jim's just been listening,
Yeah, he's
constantly
listening.
waiting.
He's been Jim Weidman has just been waiting
Sorry,
for us
Jim.
to confirm his appointment. But
We love you. We love what you do.
yep.
And,
In all reality, in all seriousness, tell us. You have a podcast.
Yes.
How do we hear that, Andy?
You can, on any of the streaming platforms, iTunes or Spotify, it's there, the ACCkids Leadership Podcast. And you can check that out.
100%.
And for all
hear.
things mentoring, it's you guys provide some fantastic resource out there. So
Yeah, we do. ACCkids they can go to the website acckids.org.au, check out the mentoring program. We're coaching near on about 70 churches at the moment across Australia.
Fantastic.
Which is great. And it goes from right down to helping with some real basic aspects through to how do we compound and go into multi-site. So wherever you're at,
Reach out, even if you don't know how to talk to your campus pastor about it. They'll help you have that conversation.
absolutely.
Well, thank you for coming in, Andy, today. Don't call us, we'll call you.
Okay,
But
okay.
thanks, everybody, for joining us on the Vault podcast. Hopefully, well, I know that was an incredible session. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Andy, for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan,
Thank
for fact-checking everything, for just being here.
Just end it, Dave.
Bye, everybody.